Okay, I kind of had moved some stuff around. I want to talk about, while we're standing here, where the proxes are located. I know we kind of already talked about that, but you've got 3 proxes up here at the top, all mounted on a single bracket. We call the top one the top boom prox. The second one down, we call it the air solenoid prox. The third one down is the auto height prox, and that's what it looks for if you have a car in the bay that was below the auto height eyes. Whenever the boom goes down in the front or back of the car, when it comes back up, it says, okay, auto height. As soon as it sees that prox, the boom will stop at that point. So then it'll leave it hanging down about 18 inches to get closer to the top of the vehicle. Down at the bottom, we just call that the lower boom prox. You've got 2 that, when they're mounted, will be mounted there's 2 tabs on either end. The one on the exit side of the gantry is your home prox. The one on the entrance side is your end of track prox. And what that does is it's a limit. Once it hits, we bolt a piece of metal to the floor as a target. When it sees that, then it'll tell it to stop. What you're looking for when you're adjusting any of these proxes anywhere, depending on where it is, from an 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch. Now, you can't do that lower one, the auto height prox. If you set that at 1/8 of an inch, you're going to damage it, because when the boom tilts one way, it's going to be further away. When it tilts the other way, it'll be closer. So it'll, from just a resting position like this. So that one you got to open up just a little bit more. You have another prox right here on this little lawnmower wheel. It's got 5 spokes on it, and that's counting prox. What that works with the measurement eyes, and it counts when it sees the front of the car. It starts counting. I know the front of the car is at count 8. Boom, the eyes see each other again at the back. The back of the car is at 62. Stores it in memory, and washes the car from that point. Okay, what I want to do now is actually adjust the telco eyes. As I mentioned before, shipping this thing back from the show, the eye got damaged, so I do have a bad eye on this. The receiver eye on the boom safety eyes is damaged, so we're going to adjust the ones in the center, which are the measurement eyes. I'm going to mess up the adjustment a little bit, and then let somebody get in there and try and adjust it. And you'll see whenever I plug this one in, because I know I have a bad eye here, I'm getting no letter and a 1 on the number, and then I've got a red light on LR and a red light on the check mark. That tells me, yes, I do have a bad eye. Now, the best setting you can get is an A14, okay? Out in the field, once you get some age on it, the eyes get some scratches on it, you're not going to be able to get a real great reading like that. But anywhere, say B1 is the least you want to accept. You could take a high C and a boom safety eye, but on the measurement eyes, it's extremely important. Don't ever take less than a B1. I mean, that's the most important.
An A1 or A2 or A3, the A14 is the best.
A4, yes. So the lower the letter, the higher the number, the better the reading. So an A14 is the best.
So is A1 better than B1?
A1 is better than B1, yes. B12 is better than a B2.
And B12, A1's better than the B12.
Yes, anything's better than, so it goes from B14, the next one up from a B14 to be an A1, A2, so it goes like that.
And the least setting is again?
A B1. You don't want any less than a B1. Right, then you've got a problem. Now, if you need it, you have a set of eyes in your service truck. You go, okay, I don't really know, because I didn't get the red light telling me that one's bad. It's just getting a poor reading. Then what I do is just unwire from the top of the socket. I try the close one first, but it's usually not. It's usually the one on the other side of the gantry. But I always try that just because, I'm an optimist. Just wire it in, lay the wire on the floor, put it in the mount, tighten it down, try and adjust it. If you're able to get a good reading from that, then that's the right one. Go ahead and pull it if it's on this side, and like we talked about before. If it's all the way over there and it's an older unit, then I wouldn't even try and pull it. I would go out maybe with the 12.5 somewhere I wouldn't go with the 12.5, but I would go somewhere wherever I could fit it. Get it out of the cabinet and then run it on the outside, because you will damage it if you try a real tough pull with it. You know, but as long as you're in the B's, you're fine.
Now, how do you go from one eye to another?
You just switch this over to the other socket.
Oh, okay, got it.
So there's two separate ones.
Only adjusting two eyes.
Yes. Well, there's another one, and I'm going to cover that right now. Okay. Okay, now on the auto hide eyes, you don't have an amplifier or a tester like this. I have a tester, but I can do it with the eyes just as easy as you can do it with, with that tester. All I normally do on the auto hide eyes is I try and line up the receiver, which is the one on the other side, just visually, trying to make it look like it's not tilting, and it's going slightly to the up position, where it's looking up slightly, because that eye is 2 inches lower than this one. And then that has a light in it. This one does too, but it's a transmitter, so that light's going to be lit anytime it has power. But the receiver only has the light on whenever it's getting the signal, when it's seeing it. So I'll just bend it. Okay, there it goes out. And I just kind of want to get it in the middle. And you do the same thing up and down, tilt it this way and that way until you kind of just get it centered in the middle of the beam. The beam on those eyes is extremely big. I mean, it's throwing a beam out there this big. So
it's not that critical.
It's not that critical. But if you get into a situation and it's not auto hiding, you would want to, maybe walk down while it's washing the car and make sure. Sometimes the pre-soak, that's why we put these little hoods over them to try and prevent the pre-soak from getting on that eye. Sometimes it may get on there, and if you see that thing blink when it's in the first 2 passes, it's not going to auto hide. Because we measure the height, first 2 passes, the length in the first pass.
One and two.
1 and 2. Because the beam is so wide, so we want to make sure when we go down and back. Now, an antenna will not block this eye, because the beam is so wide it just shoots right around it. But you can put a flag on an antenna, and that will block the eye. Because they called me back there one time to the test track, because man, it won't auto hide. It did on this other car, but it's not auto hiding on here. Like, see that patriotic flag hanging from there? You take that off, and it worked fine, no problem. Some of the chemicals have given us some fits on using this as a packing material in our foam generators. So what we have done, and we just got these in last week, had these made. They're very expensive, but they'll last forever. Yeah, yeah.
Stainless.
Yeah, it's the stainless. We send it out, all a foam generator is a piece of PVC we thread on each end, and we pack it with some type of material. Now, because of the cost, we're still going to use this in triple shine and in self-serve. We're not running into the problem there. Our biggest problem is with a lot of these pre-soaks for touchless automatic. They're running them pretty hot, so we're going to use it. We're also going to use it for tire cleaning. So those 3 on all the units that are built right now, starting last week, will have this new packing material in them. It's not a big, high-tech thing. You put your liquid and put your air here. It tumbles through this and makes foam. Again,
what makes that foam though?
Just air and the liquid mixing together, and then not just blowing straight through where they can stay separate. You're making it move around so it mixes the air with the liquid, making the foam. Okay, now I want to come over here and talk about the winterization system, which I have right over here. Now this doesn't come on a stand. I just mounted it like this to be able to move it around for this class. We basically have, we have 3 winterization systems. One is just it's a heat tape with the blow down. That's what we would use here in this climate. No reason for us to install anything like this. We have one that, like for a gas option, it would be an actual water heater, a gas water heater. It's a closed loop system, meaning you don't have an open top tank like this. You've got an expansion tank and a circulation pump, and you just circulate the water through the gantry and onto pipes around the track to prevent all that stuff from freezing. This system is my favorite. It's very easy to install, and it's very easy to fill. You don't have to worry about purging air out of the system like you do with a closed system. Because what happens in a closed system when you have a big air pocket, then you're not going to get any circulation. So with this, you just fill it right here, dump some antifreeze in it. You want to, about a 50-50 mix. So you're probably going to put, that's about 10 gallons, 15 gallons. So you're going to put probably 7, 8 gallons of antifreeze and then fill it the rest of the way with water. This is already pre-wired. It's hooked to this box. It's got the circulation pump on it. It's got the heater in it. So when you get it, basically all you have to do is run your hoses from the circulation pump. You got 2 hoses that go on there. One goes to the gantry and one goes to the pipes on the track. The other 2 are coming back, and you're going to hook them here. You'll notice one of those has a ball valve on it. I used to try and do that with a check valve so there wouldn't be an adjustment there, but there's too many variables, how high, the rise of the hose, how you had to run it. So what I did is put the ball valve on there. Get it flowing through the gantry first and slowly open the track, and once you turn it on and everything, until you start getting the heat to the pipes on the track, and then leave it set there and monitor it a little bit to make sure you don't need to make an adjustment. You just are going to pull 3-phase, 30 amps to 3-phase 230 into the top of this, and then you plug the 110 in the wall. Should the tank ever, develop a leak, when the float switch goes down, it'll quit circulating and it will turn off the heater. It's a simple system, but it works very well. In the gantry, there will be 5 radiators mounted in there. It's basically a piece of 3/4 inch copper, and then every 3/8, half an inch, there's an aluminum fin. Yeah, 4x4 aluminum fin, all the way down a 3-foot section. I've got one horizontal on the bottom, plumbed into one going vertical right next to your hoses and everything. And then I've got one on a blower unit. I have to cut the top one in half because of room. I split off, put one on one side, one on the other, and the same thing on this side as I have on the other side. Then we cover the top, where there's a vinyl cover that goes over to help hold that heat in. The sides of the gantry will be insulated. The top, we opted to not insulate all the way across because the numbers we got were really good. We had some good cold weather. It was like 25 degrees, and I lifted the cover and shot in there and was getting in the mid-80s. So we don't have to really worry about that. Now, you could insulate it further or get us to, wouldn't be a big deal. But it works well, and you being in Tennessee probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
We go doors and heaters.
Okay.
Would you recommend the blowdown cycle in addition to doors and heaters as safety or not?
We've done it before. I was just on the phone with somebody last week that I think that's in there anyway. I think it does.
It's in the program.
Right. So yeah, that's up to you how you want to handle that. That has been it's really in the pump stand section, but I'll mention it anyway since we're kind of on the subject. He asked how hot should the pre-soak heater be set. We say 120. You could fudge it up 125, but no more than that. If you start cranking the pressure up, you're going to eat up pumps. They're not designed to run at that kind of temperature. The heater will boil that pre-soak if you want to. Now in that system, you could run that up as high as 180. I recommend 160 on the setting on there. Okay, I just want to kind of touch on the more important things before we take our test. The number one most important thing on troubleshooting is knowing what input lights and output lights should be lit, when it's sitting there or whenever it's operating. I have a deal in the handout. Where is it? Right here it says lights on standby. And what this tells you is just as it's sitting there, it's ready to wash a car. The gantry is at home, the boom is in the up position. If you look where it says gantry on the OD08, no light should be lit. So if you see a light there, then hey, you need to start looking for a problem. On the ID16, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 may or may not be on. That is the count prox.
So it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be on.
Might be in the middle of the count.
Right. If it's in between the flags, then it won't be on. So that may or may not be on. But using that and using that decal, because it explains what each function, each number is at any time. I mean, most of the time, I'd say 90% of all your problems you can find that way. Because I would say the most common, troubleshooting you're going to have is proxes or eyes. That's just the nature of the beast. You're dealing with electricity and water. So, those are going to be the things, you're going to get it doing something it's not supposed to, then you're getting a light that you're not supposed to get, or it's not lighting when it should. So when you're troubleshooting, use this, and it'll help you get to a solution to the problem a lot quicker. Also on the next page, you also can use the service screen. Just because you're getting a light on the prox and back to your input card, you may not be getting that information back to the main computer in the main panel. So this tells you, if you go through the service screen, go all the way through and look for these functions. Hey, my top boom prox is lit on the gantry, but I come in here and it may not be on. If it's not, then we may have a communication problem. But you're always, you're going to look, when you're looking at input and output lights, you're also looking for comm lights, all the time, because you can get some strange problems if you're losing comm intermittently. Because it's getting, like it's sitting there counting and then you lose comm, and then you get it back again, and now it starts counting, right where it left off or whatever. So, you need to use the service screen. It's a good tool to use. It can help you find a lot of problems very quickly. Oh, thank you for coming. I hope you got something out of this class. Some of you may be going to the advanced class later in this school. It'll be a lot different than this because you're dealing with the entire unit, pump stand and the gantry together as one, and it's all basically hands-on troubleshooting. So those of you that are going to that, I think that's going to be a real good class for everybody.